just a second for YouTube to kick in. I know they like to delay everything. It is kind of early. Well, it's not that early. It's 8:43 Central Time where I am here in Florida. Still kind of early for a normal Squirrel Tribe live stream, but we have a lot of things to talk about today. It'll be a short one though. I'm not going to lie. I'm not trying to keep you guys here all day long, but there are a lot of things I do want to discuss. One of them going to be the most obvious. If you read the title of the live stream where it says, I hate having to say, I told you so. Today is one of those moments where I really don't like saying I told you so, but at the same time I do, and I know it's going to sound crappy, but I do feel, good is not the right word. Vindicated, still not the right word. But when I am correct about something, I do feel good about it, that at least I wasn't wrong with y'all when we were having a conversation. So do you remember the plane/helicopter crash that happened, like a month or so ago in DC? We talked about it at the time, and I said, hey, listen, this is going to end up being a much bigger deal than they tell you it is, because none of it really made sense. The air traffic control people, there was only one. There were supposed to be two air traffic controllers. We talked about that. I talked about how they were being, the plane was being diverted to another runway that isn't normally used. This is at Reagan International Airport, I think is what it's called, Reagan something airport. I don't remember the name of it. But if you guys remember when we talked about it, sorry, I'm trying to clean my glasses with my t-shirt, which is an awful idea, but they're very dirty. When we talked about it, I said, this is not normal. I said, this is something that I feel personally has been done on purpose to put bad light on the Trump administration, because this was right after they started making changes. President Trump and his administration has started making changes with the FAA and all these other changes. Doge was running wild with finding fake spending and not unlawful spending, even though kind of sort of, I think some of it was unlawful, but everything was happening. It was brand new Trump administration and everything was going kind of crazy, and that did not help at all. And the Democrats really wanted to put a very, very bad light on President Trump. And I said, I don't like being the person that thinks that we have people within our own country that would willingly sacrifice lives of American citizens, men, women, and children, in order to paint our president in a bad light, or in order to push a specific agenda, which was, they were trying to push. Trump had come through and said, we're getting rid of this DEI bullshit because it's not good. Look at all the issues we've had throughout numerous aspects of this country, thanks to the DEI push that has happened over the last 4 years with the Biden-Harris administration, right? And so I told you then, I said, this is a DEI thing. It's a female pilot, which is fine. I'm not saying females can't be pilots, but I told you then that this woman that was the pilot of the helicopter did not have the right amount of flight time to have been the main pilot of said helicopter when she was up and flying. And I said that the path that the helicopter was on, I told you then that they were, I don't remember exactly how many feet off course, but they were off course in enough of a sense that why wasn't it corrected? And I said the fact that it wasn't corrected by her on board, or the pilot, which I knew was going to be a female pilot. I said the fact that it wasn't corrected in and of itself speaks volumes to me, because there should have been no confusion on her part of where she was supposed to be. And if you had air traffic control also telling her, hey, listen, pay attention, there's a plane coming, which we listened to the audio at the time, and she still ignored everything. I said then it's going to be a purposeful moment. This is something that is happening right now to cast doubt on President Trump and his administration, to make it seem like DEI hires were a good thing, not a bad thing. And sure as shit, y'all, I hate to do it, this is the female pilot. Remember, they scrubbed her social media accounts immediately. They would not give us her name. They gave us the two male pilots, co-pilots that were on board the helicopter, but they would not give us this female pilot's name. And they scrubbed her social media accounts when it happened, which I was like, why is this the first thing her parents are doing and everybody else is doing, is scrubbing her social media accounts? It's because she was an anti-Trump person. She was a lesbian, which is not a big deal. I could give two shits who you love like that, right? But there were a lot of things that, when compiled all together, made it very obvious to me that there was something very bad going on with her, and that she was not doing her job to the best of her abilities, and that it was something being done purposely, and it has come out. This was the crash killed 64 people, including 12 children, right? The female pilot who was flying was given multiple warnings and was directly told by her male instructor / co-pilot to turn the opposite direction of the passenger jet to avoid a collision, and she ignored him and flew straight into it, which is what I told you guys then. I'm just going to read this little excerpt of the information that has come out since everything has gone through. And it says, 2 seconds after the controllers cut out instruction about passing behind the jet, Warrant Officer Eves replied, affirming for the second time that the Black Hawk saw the traffic. And this is what it was said. Pat 25 has the aircraft in sight. Request visual separation, he said. Viz Sep approved. This is the air traffic controller replied, and it was their very last communication. The Black Hawk was 15 seconds away from crossing paths with the jet. Warrant Officer Eves then turned his attention to Captain Lobach, who is the female, and he told her he believed the air traffic control wanted them to turn left toward the East River bank. Turning left would have opened up more space between the helicopter and Flight 5342, which was heading for runway 33 at an altitude of roughly 300 feet. She did not turn left. And then they said that they were moving the airplane from runway 33 to runway 1 is what they were supposed to have done. And that would have taken the plane into a different path. But at this point in time, they were on the right. The plane was on the correct path. The helicopter was in the wrong, I don't remember if it's height or left, right. I don't remember exactly which one it was that we talked about at the time, but I pointed it out then. I said, the path that this helicopter was on is not accurate. The instructions from air traffic control seemed pretty clear cut on exactly what should have happened. What I don't understand, and I didn't understand then, and I still don't understand now, is why the co-pilot did not take over. I feel like if you are a co-pilot, and this is me speaking from, knowledge ignorance, not like stupidity ignorance, but knowledge ignorance. I don't know if in this Black Hawk, because they have a co-pilot and a pilot, if there are 2 sets of steering wheels, not the correct phrasing, but so everybody can kind of visualize, right? If there are 2 sets of controllers or whatever else, so that if something were to happen to the pilot, the co-pilot could take over, or vice versa, kind of like in the defensive driving classes, you know, where you have the driver, the student, and you have the teacher. The teacher, generally speaking, has her own set of brakes and gas pedal and a steering wheel, so that they can take over if something happens with the student driver, if they aren't doing what was required or safe or whatever. So I've been curious this whole time why the co-pilot, if the co-pilot felt that this Lobach chick was, I think it's Amy, is that her first name? That the Lobach chick was not where she was supposed to be, why didn't they take over? Maybe, of course, there's not enough time in between, but at the end of the day, I remember going, this is not right. Something feels off here. I don't like what's happening. They're packaging it up way too neatly and handing it to the American people like we're just supposed to believe every single thing immediately. And it didn't make sense to me. The timing of it all, the scenario around the whole thing, I didn't like it. And unfortunately, they are now coming out with more information saying that she purposefully flew into this plane. And I remember at the time going, who was on the airplane? Like, was there somebody on this airplane that they didn't want out or whatever? And it turns out, if I'm remembering correctly, because remember, we did have 4 or 5 airplanes exactly within like a 1 week time. But if I remember correctly, there were people on that flight. I know there was y'all don't get mad at me. I don't remember if it's a gymnastics team or it was a team. There was kids on there, and it was a team, and I think it's gymnastics. Maybe it was something ice related. Ice skating team was on the plane. But my brain is going, who else was on there? Was there a doctor who had a cure for cancer? Was there somebody who had information that could have blown open the whole Biden-Harris administration? Was there somebody on there who had you know what I mean? Like, you have to wonder, and I'm sure it's because I've seen way too many effing movies in my life and read way too many books where all these things, there's always something that they're trying to cover up, right? And I feel like everything that's been happening lately has been some sort of cover up, because when the airplane crashes were happening, it was too convenient right after President Trump made some changes to the DEI and the FAA. Everything happens, and then suddenly something new happens, and the plane crashes stop, and people quit talking about them and everything else. And it's interesting is never the right word, but that's the word that always pops into my head, that it's interesting. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention to you guys is numerous things, obviously, but let me get over out of X and over into my emails, because Sarah sent me this email. You guys know Sarah. She is the moderator over here on SquirrelTribe. She's also the moderator for my husband over on Kevin 24/7. And she sent me this email. Well, she sent me a couple of them, but where's the one that I wanted to mention to you guys? Because there's so many things going on right now that it's absolutely ridiculous how it feels like, I've said it before, one step forward, two steps back. It kind of feels like that's where we are right now. I know a lot of people are saying that President Trump has the worst presidential rating in the first 100 days in the last 80 years. And I'm like, well, I hear you, but did you only poll Democrats? Because of course they're going to say that. And did you poll any Republicans or independents or any of this kind of stuff? Because it's very hard for me to see these statistics and believe any of them, because if I want something to look a certain way, I'm going to go ask certain people that are going to give me the visual responses that I need, so I can go, see, I told you so. And so when I see these polls that are coming out now about the disapproval of President Trump and how people are wishing they hadn't voted for him, I'm like, no. I feel like, again, this is one of those mind F's to make people second guess their votes and to make people have doubt in our country and doubt in our administration and everything else. And personally, not drinking the Kool-Aid over here, just so y'all know, I don't believe it. I do believe that there are some people who may not love some of the things that President Trump has done right now. A lot of people it's on the tariffs. People are talking about the tariffs and all this other stuff and how all the stores are going to raise their prices and all this other stuff. Listen, I think the tariffs are a great thing. We are pulling in money from other countries at this point, whereas before we were only giving money away to other countries. The tariffs are going to do a good thing. It's just going to take a second. Look, I see it. Y'all are talking about drinking stuff. I don't know what's happening, but I have green tea this morning. It looks like, urine sample, but it is green tea because I just wanted something cold, baby hint of caffeine. And so that's what we're doing. But the thing that I saw, which I know Sarah sent it to me, it's somewhere in my emails, I can't find it, but this happened a couple days ago, maybe last week, with RFK Jr. and the HHA, Health and Human HHS, y'all, my brain, it's not fully braining this morning, so please forgive me when I have little baby hiccups or mess ups over here. The Health and Human Services, HHS, there we go, with good old Bobby. He is talking about wanting to get rid of a bunch of food dyes, right? And my husband and I were having this conversation, and it made me think about the fact that this may be what they want to make America healthy again. It's never going to happen. And let me explain why it's never going to happen. Not because it wouldn't be great for us, but because it would be great for us. That's why it's never going to happen, right? You have to think about it this way, and because I like the game Jenga. Have you guys ever played Jenga? It's where you have to pull out the pieces and hope that the whole thing doesn't collapse, right? This is what I think of our administration right now and what they're trying to do. They're trying to pull the pieces out that don't belong, but that would still keep everything in a structure, right? Well, when you start messing with the food supply, and you go through and you're trying to take out the things that make everything bad, unfortunately, with the way our system is set up, those are all coming from the bottom. And if you pull all those out, every single little bit collapses. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. If that is the case, if RFK Jr. is able to go through and get rid of food dyes, right? Think about it this way. Food dyes, get rid of red dye 5, blue dye 3, hut. I don't know what the numbers are. I'm just naming things, but there's all these dyes, right? If they are able to take those out, they want them to be replaced with healthy alternatives. Carrot juice for orange, beet juice for red. I don't know what the hell you put in there for blue. Maybe blueberries? I'm not quite sure. But they want to replace the dyes, the chemicals, with actual food products, right? The same way it is in the majority of the world. Now, here's the thing. The majority of the world started off that way. We did not. We have been going with chemicals for so very, very long that to make those changes is going to have a detrimental effect to the entire system. And that's the problem here. It's the system, because in other countries, like I said, other countries, they have used natural food coloring, as Sarah said, forever. And they have used natural this and that. You can look at a box of which one is it? Fruit Loops here versus a box of Fruit Loops in a completely different country. And they are completely different in the makeup of them. We have so many chemicals in our foods that other countries don't. And these manufacturers are making the exact same thing for both countries. It's Kellogg's, no matter how you look at it, making food for the US and making food for the UK or wherever else. But our food here is filled with chemicals and things that are going to cause cancer and kill us and whatever else. They've done enough studies to know that I'm not making things up here. They do harm people. Whereas in the UK, Europe, wherever, they have more real food. The question has always been for me, if this manufacturer can make it this way there, why the hell aren't they making it this way here? And it's because at the end of the day, it's not up to the manufacturer. It's up to the drug companies. It's up to the doctors. It's up to the chemical makers. It's up to the everybody else. And that's where the problem comes in. If you have RFK Jr. wanting to go through and make America healthy again, they're not going to let him. Just like everything that President Trump is trying to do, they keep getting, shot down in Supreme Courts this and Supreme Courts that. And then everybody's going through and trying to make bills and laws in their own states that you can't do this, you can't do that. Because if they were to allow that, they lose their money. And at the end of the day, this country is a business, and profit over people. I've said it since day one. I will say it with my last breath. Profit over people is what this country is run on, which is the most unfortunate thing in the world. The problem with RFK Jr. is he really does care about the health of the people, but the health of the people does not play into the health of the nation, because the health of the nation is based off money. Just like war, there is no problem. There's no reason for war except for that it brings in a ton of money with the military equipment, with the this and the that. It's all about money at the end of the day. So RFK Jr. coming through going, well, we're going to ban these dyes. We're going to ban this, ban that, ban that. Numerous things are going to happen. The cost of carrots will go through the roof. The cost of beets will go through the roof. The cost of everything will go through the roof, because then they're going to say, well, we can't sell it to you on the shelves because now we have to use it for the packaged food that we're making you. Or the next thing you know is, well, there's no more real carrots or beets or blueberries or blackberries, because now we have to genetically modify and weirdly grow them all in order to replace the chemicals we're not allowed to use with this kind of stuff and all these things, right? But if you take away the things that are at the base of a pyramid or a base of a tower or whatever you want to call it, it will collapse. And so for RFK Jr. to come through and want to change our food supply, as great as it is, they are not going to let him do it. They may give him a 5% leeway on certain things, but at the end of the day, if they are to change the food, they take away the chemicals and they put in healthy things. I'm not sick and you're not sick. What does that do? Well, you don't need to go to the doctor as often and I don't need to go to the doctor as often. Well, then those doctors lose their jobs. Well, then you don't need the prescriptions as often. Well, then the drug manufacturers lose their jobs, and then the pharmacists lose their jobs. And then there's no more jobs for these people, and there's no more money flowing around for the pharmaceutical people and everything else. And they can't let that happen. They cannot let that happen. So at the end of the day, every time I see something with RFK Jr. and how he's going to make America healthy again, I go, he's not, but not because he doesn't want to, but because they won't let him. At the end of the day, they won't let him. YouTube may flag the shit out of this, but the second I say it, you guys have heard of Dr. Sebi, right? SEBI, you guys have heard of him? You guys have heard of a lot of other people, I'm sure, that have found ways to do certain things. I don't know, the guy who found ways, how did this one go? The man who found a way to make everything run off of corn oil. Oh, is this right? And then the next thing you know, he was trying to get it patented so that cars and things could run off corn oil. And then suddenly, he's not alive anymore. That's interesting. Just all these different things, right? The country in and of itself, no matter who is at the helm as president, whether it's Trump, whether it's Biden, whether it's whoever, unfortunately, aren't the ones who are really pulling the strings. We know that there are, I'm going to say sinister forces, because that's what it feels like to me. Sinister forces behind the scenes doing everything. And the president is given just enough information to make it feel like he's doing something good. And again, this is Trump, this is Biden, this is even Obama, this is whatever, because this goes back way before any of them, because when did all of the processed food starts? When did all of the cancer really kick in? When did all of these pharmaceutical companies become the overtaker of commercials on TV? I see more drug commercials than anything else. I see more commercials for all these processed foods that will kill you or send you to the drug manufacturers than anything else. And you have to realize that whatever started that is why we are where we are today. And dismantling that's, I mean, it's impossible. And I hate to be, Debbie Downer, womp, 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 but it's impossible. They will not allow it to happen. Anytime it looks like something's going to get close, I guarantee you something goes bankrupt or somebody dies every single time, or something gets bought out, and then the people who take it over. I mean, think about it. Our food supply is under 5 major companies. They all go through and buy up every little independent thing. There were so many good for you food companies, whether it was granola companies or yogurt companies or whatever. And then you have Kellogg come through and buy them up. You have PepsiCo come through and buy them up. You have all these other companies come through and buy them up, and then suddenly start making little small tweaks and changes. I used to get organic gummy vitamins. Alicia Silverstone, I don't know if you guys know who she is, but I love her. She was in the movie Clueless, and I love Clueless. It's one of my favorite movies, whatever, judge me. She had this line of organic vitamins, right? A whole line of everything. Well, she got bought out by, I want to say Nestle. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on it. You guys can look it up if you want, but she got bought out by somebody or sold to somebody, which then changed my mind about her a lot. And now I can't get those organic gummies anymore because now they are more expensive and they're full of chemicals and whatever else. And it's like, at the end of the day, no matter how many people tell you they're doing this for your health, they're doing this for your good, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, they care about the money. I mean, Alicia Silverstone, she cared about the money. She sold her company to get the money. And these other manufacturers who started off with great intentions, they end up selling their companies because of the money. Now, it could be because they want to keep it in business and that's the best way to do it. But at the end of the day, if you're selling to these massive conglomerates, you have to understand that your product is not going to be your product anymore. It will get changed every single time. I don't know a single thing that has stayed the same except for Arizona tea. Listen, Arizona tea. I don't know the man who owns it. I don't know the man who started it. All I know is that during the massive inflation over the last couple of years, he said he is not changing his pricing. His Arizona tea is still 99 cents. It says it on the can, but when you go to Dollar Tree, you go to Dollar General, they sell it for $1.25, even though on the can it says 99 cents. Sarah, yes, Garden of Life. That's the vitamins I used to take. But even Arizona tea, they said, there's no point in raising the price when I can still sell it for this. I'm not trying to make a ton of profit. I'm trying to make sure people have good tea. They have good whatever, like the green tea, the black tea, I think they have a peach tea even, all this other stuff. But the companies that buy it from them turn around and sell it for more because to them, it's all about the profit. Whereas that's one manufacturer that I can think of is like, no, I want people to still be able to pay 99 cents for it. And I know that's pointless, but I was just sharing that with you because I think it's good that there's at least somebody out there who has stuck to their guns with why they started their company, what they want from their company, and what they want their customers to perceive when it comes to their company and everything else like that. So, numerous other things I wanted to talk about. I kind of went off a little bit longer on the RFK tangent than expected because the food supply is one of the things that irks me the most in this entire world is the food supply and the changes that they make to it and the way they expect everybody to eat healthy, but they don't because they make eating healthy so incredibly expensive, even though it shouldn't be nearly as expensive as eating bad, because at the end of the day, if you eat bad, you're paying way more for your doctor visits, your prescriptions, your whatever else. So it's, do you want to pay more up front for healthy food or pay more in the long run with your health or your life? Right? That's kind of how it goes down. Anyway, y'all, just one of those days. And it's definitely a Monday. I'll tell you that much. It's definitely a Monday. Anyway, there was another one I wanted to mention, and then I'm going to let you guys go because we've been doing this for 25 minutes, and I told you it would be a short one. I'm just trying to find the one I wanted to mention because there's so many to talk about, and we can always do more later. But Where is this one? I'm trying to find a specific one, so just bear with me. And before anybody goes, you should really get your shit together before you get started. You've obviously never been here before. Where is it? We're going to talk about Las Vegas one day. It's not today, but we're going to have a conversation about Vegas later. And no, that's not it. Missouri. No, that's not it either. No, that's not it. Please hold. Don't go anywhere. Nope, that's not it either. I have so many things and none of them are the one that I'm looking for. So my brain is not going to work correctly since I can't find the one I want. So instead, I'll just let you guys go. Oh, so totally off topic, but I'm watching Grey's Anatomy. I restarted it maybe a week ago. I'm now on season 3, episode, I don't know what. And I didn't realize how many, and this show has been around, what, like 20, 25 years or something? I did not realize it in the first couple seasons, probably because I missed some of them. This is when you still had like DVR stuff. This is before Netflix and Hulu and all that crap. You still had the DVR, or before even that, where you had to make sure you had a VHS tape and in the thing, and you had it set up to record, or before that, where you had to run to the bathroom during commercials to pee, to run back, because if you missed it, it was gone. I used to watch Grey's Anatomy when I could. And Chester says, don't forget your super chats. Thank you. I did see another one come through earlier, and I'm going to try to get to it in just a moment. But I was watching Grey's Anatomy, and the episode I saw today happens to have a couple who were man and wife, but then the man decided he wanted to be a woman. And so he started taking a bunch of estrogen, and he was going to the hospital to get his penis cut off. And instead they found out he had breast cancer, because he's really... Wait, she had breast cancer because it's a he who's taking estrogens with the she. I don't know. It was the most whatever thing. And my brain is going, if I had watched this and seen this episode when I was 12, 13, whatever, I would have been confused beyond all belief what the hell they were talking about. The only reason I can see it now and understand it is because it's been shoved down our throats so much for the last 4 years under the Biden-Harris administration that now I look at it and I'm like, oh, so they wanted you to know ahead of time that there was mental decline within our society, but they used it as a TV show. And in this one episode, they let it be known that this man who wants to be a woman, that the way they phrased it, they said that if he wasn't taking estrogen, he wouldn't have gotten cancer. And so they were like, if you want to continue on trying to be a woman, then it's going to kill you. And I was like, I feel like people should listen to that. I feel like people should listen to that, because I felt like at that time that was their way of saying this is a stupid idea. Don't do it, without going, ew, don't do it. I don't really know how to explain that, but I saw the episode and I was like, I feel like this is like now they've changed completely since the beginning of the show, I believe. And now everything is as far left leaning as humanly possible. But it was just interesting because, like I said, when that episode first came out, it wouldn't have occurred. I would have looked at it and been like, this is stupid, and kept going. But I wouldn't have had like the thoughts about it that I have now with the push that it has been over the last couple of years. So anyway, Squirrel Tribe, again, random live stream. I appreciate y'all being here for it with me, just so I could talk about the random things I want to talk about. It does make me feel great that you guys come here for this, and hopefully it gives you guys something to discuss later on with friends and family and whatnot. And we'll do this again later today, maybe live, maybe an upload. I'm not quite sure, but make sure you guys check out the description in the video when it's all said and done. I know I've talked to you guys about chapter before. I don't know if you know what chapter is, but if you happen to be on Medicare, you might want to take a look at it, because it's a free option for you guys to reach out to, and they'll kind of go over all of your stuff with you to figure out if there's anything better option wise for you for your part A, B, C, D. Heaven forbid they throw out an E, F, G at any point in the future. You're definitely going to need more help with that. But there's a phone number and a website in the description if you guys want to check it out. If not, no harm, no foul. It's a free call, free link, whatever, just to kind of go over your stuff and see if there's any changes that can be made. If there are, they'll let you know. If they're not, they'll tell you you're in great hands the way you already are, and to keep on keeping on. But besides that, y'all, that's it for now. I love you. And now I'm going to go home and wash the few dishes that are still in the sink from last night, because I was tired and did not wash them all, slacker. And then cook some breakfast for my husband and myself. And then I will see you guys again later. Okay. Love y'all. Bye. Adios.